Who am I? Well, I was born in Lancashire originally. My father was in the army. He was in the Black Watch during the war. After the war, he got medical discharged because of war wounds. For a few years, he went round a few jobs. We gained a houseboat off Canvey Island from one of his uncles. He lived there for a while. Then my father rejoined the army. And at the age of 5, I went to Tidworth. And from Tidworth, I went to school for a year. Then we went to East Africa. I lived in East Africa during the Mau Mau trouble. I even seen what we did to the blacks. And I call them blacks because that's what I felt at the time. From there I went to Belgium and Germany for the next 4 or 5 years. Each time we used to pass through London, his mother's place, or Lancashire, my mother's home place. Then we went off to Cyprus. I went to Cyprus at the age of 13 and I learnt to sail there. And if you look carefully here, you'll see I'm sitting on a boat. I started sailing when I was 13. I'm now 76, so I've been sailing a wee while. Unfortunately, Cyprus, 60 years ago, in January, there was a bit of a problem down the docks. This little trouble around the docks spread throughout the town. I'll come back to that another day. But let it be said. Let it be said. It made me realise how religion divides people very, very quickly. Because on Monday, when I went into school, the head janitor was sitting with a technician, and I said to them, "Why are you sitting down here? You're the head janitor, you shouldn't be living with a technician. Remember, I'm living under army rules." And he said, "We are Turks." Yes, the incident at the harbour was they were unloading a box. The box fell off the crane, hoiler, hit the ground, and out of that box rolled hand grenades, machine guns, a lot. The Turks on the harbour picked up, the Greeks picked up, and before you knew it, we saw the separation of two nations. My father instigated phoning up 4 Mile Point, and we brought down the British troops straight away to split up the differences. Yes, most people have heard the one 50 years ago. Unfortunately, I was there again, because my father was in the army again. Well, he was actually the quartermaster of the Decatur Hospital, and I was married and had a child, and we went out there. I was on the second to last civvy plane before the Turkish army moved in. The week before, I'd been up at Nicosia with my father, and I said, "Get out of this village now, father." And he said, "Why? You can't see it, can you, father?" I said, "No." "And you can't feel it?" I said, "No." "We are in a Turkish village, and if you not noticed, they are being barbed wire in by the Greeks. And if you not noticed, they are starving, the same as the blacks I saw in East Africa." It was the same picture. So I understood why the Turkish army went in. But having said that, gone back this year, 50 years on to that invasion, I saw a lot of derelict Greek property. That's upset me. So now why I'm interested in Scotland? Well, after the Cyprus incident, which we got eventually flown out a 1 week's notice, I went back to Lancashire, transferred schools again. Came home from school one day to find my mother very ill, and the doctor said she's only got a few hours to live, or a few days to live, less than a week. I phoned at the War Office that day from these old A and B phone boxes. I said, can I get my dad back before my mother dies? Because he was only there because I'd asked for him to get a 6 months extension on his tour, so I could finish my O grade years and have some solidarity of being more than 1 year in the school, because I had 13 schools as a child. My father came back. My mother lived another 20 years after that. They got a posting up to Edinburgh. So when I finished my O-levels, I came up to Scotland on my bike. So I came to Scotland 60 plus years ago, and I've been there ever since, because I had no allegiance with anything else. Whilst in Scotland, I've been a fisherman, a trawlerman. I worked in bars. I've been a waiter. I've been a sign technician. I run a small crofting. I have ended up as a school teacher. I have an honours degree in maths, physics and chemistry. I've got involved a few times in politics. First one was in Cyprus, where I became the chairman. Second one was in Aberdeen University, where I was the SRC council. And during that year, I also stood behind a black man, and we ran for him for president. We came in third, but considering there wasn't many foreigners there at the time, I think we did quite well. So why am I putting myself up for now politics? Well, in all these years I've been in Scotland, I have seen the devastation of Scotland. I've seen the devastation of the fishing. I have seen the exploitation of the North Sea oil. I have seen the moving of the boundaries, even in the North Sea, which is Scottish waters and English waters. I've seen the cloning of the mines. I've seen the assimilation of the shipping industry. I am now seeing the closing of a refinery. We cannot allow the English to keep taking our resources. We cannot allow the English to keep taxing us and giving none of it back. We need independence. The Scottish voted to stay in the EU, but the previous referendum, 4 years prior, when Scotland was asked about a referendum, the day before the actual referendum, what did they say? Us, the oldies, the old pensioners, wouldn't get our pension. Well, we are worth 21% of the vote. That was not true because that contract had been done with the UK government. We have been paying in the UK government all those years. So maybe we, the oldies, did vote to stay in the United Kingdom. I did not. And though I have an English accent, my father's accent, I've never lived in London, I've passed through it a few times. Unfortunately, I have a strong English accent from his influence. And all the years in Scotland, even working the trawls, I never quite got the accent right. I can do an Irish one on if you like, but not the Scottish one. I even lived in the Brock at times, and Peterhead, and by God, the language up there is strange. But, believe me, I am for the Scottish independence. The sooner we can get it, the better it will be. Scotland, as an independent nation, will thrive. I'm not sure I want to go back in the EU. I'd rather have the Norwegian model and the Swiss model. Part in without all the commitments. Because as George Brownpoint once said, it'll end up states in Europe. I look at the United States, and if that is the ideal way a country should go, I do not agree with it. So, my next few videos, it won't be talking about me. I'll be talking about the issues which I've already introduced in this video.